My name is Leslie. So excited to highlight the Purdue for Life Foundation Alumni Travel Program for 2026. Joining us today is Sarah Cusator, our very own Alumni Travel Advisor. Sarah's been with the Purdue for Life Foundation for more than 4 years and does an excellent job of identifying really cool travel opportunities for our alumni, fans, and friends. Sarah herself is very well traveled. She has visited 35 countries, and some of her favorites are Iceland, Italy, New Zealand, and the Galapagos Islands. Sarah enjoys visiting new places with unique landscapes, fascinating culture, and great food. She has hosted 9 Purdue trips and loves traveling around the world with Boilermakers. Sarah and her husband reside in Scottsdale, Arizona with their dog Remy. She is a great resource for our travelers, and she's here today to share some of the amazing opportunities available to you in the coming year. So welcome, Sarah. I'll turn it over to you.
Thank you so much, Leslie. I'm excited to be here and share about our alumni travel program. Okay, let's get started. So a bit of background about the alumni travel program. We've been around for over 60 years, taking Boilermakers to locations all around the world. We do usually offer now 50 or so trips every year, and they span a lot of different destinations, types of travel, budgets, and really up to the traveler what you're interested in. We can usually find a trip that matches that. A key part of our program is the Purdue connection component. So we really aim to help Boilermakers connect with each other, back to Purdue, and with our Purdue host if we're able to send one on a trip. So we'll host a pre-departure meeting, we'll host receptions during the trip, and really just try to find a lot of opportunities for you to connect with each other throughout your journey. As I just mentioned, we have a variety of trips that we offer. So we do cruises, river cruises, land trips, train trips, some combination of different styles across a lot of different destinations and different modes of travel as well. So if you're looking for something a bit more adventurous, we have those types of trips. And if you're looking for something a bit more leisurely, we also have some of those. And then we try to do a range of different lengths of trips, so longer trips, shorter trips, and costs as well. We sponsor trips with some trusted travel partners. You can see their logos here, and you can learn more about these companies on our website. How it works is that we select itineraries that these companies have created, and we choose to sponsor them as Purdue alumni and get our alumni to attend the trips together, sometimes with other university alumni associations and sometimes with just Purdue travelers. A bit about the benefits of group travel. It's great to sign up with Purdue because you know that you'll be traveling with other Purdue people. So you already have something in common. You'll oftentimes be spending a lot of time with the fellow travelers on the trip. So it's nice to know you already have that Purdue connection to start you off. You'll also get support from the travel program during the length of the trip, leading up to the trip. We can advise you on different opportunities, different trip options, but also while you're on the ground too. And then you're also supporting Purdue and the Purdue for Life Foundation by choosing to travel with us. One of the highlights of group travel, especially with our program, is the value that you get from our trips. It would be very difficult to plan these trips yourself with the same level of accommodations and transportation and excursions for the same price that we're able to offer through the packages. So that's a huge benefit of selecting one of these trips. And then there are oftentimes additional discounts that you'll qualify for, such as an early booking discount or like a paperless savings if you book online. And we often are able to have trips where there are no additional costs for solo travelers, which is becoming more and more popular for people to travel on their own on these trips. So I'm always happy to share more about those discounts as well. The convenience of the trip is also probably one of the biggest positive pieces of positive feedback that I get from travelers, which is just that once you decide the trip you want to go on, everything is handled for you by the tour operator. So they can book your flights, your transfers, all of the transportation. You'll have a guide with you. So it's really just kind of a one-stop shop. It's easy. You don't have to plan all of those logistical details yourself. And then as far as the safety and security, you'll be with a tour director, a professional travel guide. They'll be able to advise you on lots of different things throughout the trip, really kind of providing that security for the group. You'll also be with a group, which is nice when you're traveling in an unfamiliar place as well. And then lastly, benefit of group travel would be the travel advisor and advocate role that I can play as far as advising on what trips we have available, how big the groups are, certain itineraries or locations that you may be interested in, and then advocating for you as well should anything happen while you're on the trip. And then we also have a fun photo here from a trip that I hosted just this past February in Costa Rica. You can see we always bring lots of Boilermaker pride to wherever our groups are traveling. So the majority of what I wanted to share with you today is the 2026 travel schedule. So we do have 47 trips in 2026. We'll be traveling to 6 of the 7 continents. And you can find information for all of those trips on our website. The link is here on the screen, purdueforlife.org/travel. For the upcoming trips, you can just click on the trip title and it'll share a lot more information and details about the trip. So all 47 trips are there, but for the purpose of time today, I have selected a few to highlight through each season of 2026. These are a mix of our popular trips, some new itineraries that we're offering, and some just more exciting destinations as well. We'll start with winter 2026. The first trip I want to highlight is Maori Heritage. This is the Australia-New Zealand trip. It is a cruise aboard the Oceania Riviera through the company Go Next, and we actually already have 25 Boilermakers signed up for this trip with a few spaces still open. So if you're interested, I highly recommend. We'll have a good-sized group. It'll also be hosted by one of our past Alumni Association presidents, Ken Sam, so a great opportunity to connect there as well. We're having a great mix of different places in Australia and New Zealand on this trip, and a few of the highlights include cruising through the Milford Sound in New Zealand and visiting some wildlife refuges as well. Next up is Costa Rica, so similar lines of great scenery and wildlife. This is an exclusive departure, which means that it will be only Purdue travelers, and it's a small group limited to 18. If you're in the Midwest, this is a great time of year to get away from the winter and go somewhere warm, like Costa Rica in February. It's a great mix of landscape, wildlife, and lots of opportunities for more adventurous activities like hanging bridges, ziplining, and hiking. Next up is the journey to Southern Africa. This is also a small group departure limited to 28 travelers. And this itinerary includes South Africa, Zimbabwe, and Botswana. Highlights will include a lot of safari time, as well as cultural excursions as well. You'll spend some time on some private game reserves, do 3 nights on the Rovos Rail, and you'll also see Victoria Falls. And then the last one for winter is a new itinerary to an exciting place, which is the passage from the Seychelles to Madagascar. This is a cruise on a Penant ship, which is a smaller luxury vessel, and it'll allow you to get into some of those smaller island ports. The unique itinerary will highlight 10 different tropical islands with a lot of wildlife, vegetation, and some geological wonders. A cool thing about this trip is that you'll have a team of naturalists on board, so they'll be able to share their expertise as you see the unique landscape and wildlife throughout these areas. Moving into spring, the first I'd like to highlight is the Portrait of Italy trip. This is one of our most popular trips every single year. It's so popular that we actually offer 2 different departures each year. So you can see the April dates here on the screen. And then in 2026, we'll also be offering October dates, the 15th through the 30th. This is a small group tour limited to 24 travelers, and it's exclusive to Purdue for both departures. I really like this trip because I think it's a perfect kind of tour of the highlights of Italy. So you'll start in the Amalfi Coast, you'll go to Rome and do a lot of the historic sites there. Then you travel up through Tuscany, see Florence, and then you end in Venice. So if you haven't been to Italy before and you want to kind of experience all the highlights, this is the perfect itinerary for that. Next, in ancient Greece. So this is a small group departure, and we're actually sharing this trip with the University of Nebraska. It's a land trip, which is unique because a lot of times when you travel to Greece, the only way to see it is through a cruise ship. This will be on land, and you'll be able to dig a little bit deeper into the historical elements of a lot of the cities and sites that you'll see. So you'll actually visit some archaeological sites and several islands, including Crete and Santorini. Next up, kind of going along the history theme here, is the European Coastal Cruise. This will start in Lisbon and end in London, and it's aboard the Atlas World Voyager ship, which is another one of those small luxury ships that allows you to get into some of the smaller ports that the larger ships aren't able to go into. This trip will have a special guest speaker, Dwight David Eisenhower II, who will actually lead groups to tour some of the D-Day sites in Normandy. And he'll also give some lectures on board as well. And then there will be 3 UNESCO World Heritage Sites included in this itinerary: Porto, Santiago de Compostela, and Mont Saint-Michel in France. And then lastly, for the spring, we have one of our domestic offerings, which is the National Parks and Lodges of the Old West. Some highlights for this trip include Mount Rushmore, Custer State Park, Yellowstone, and the Grand Teton National Park. Something unique about this trip is that you'll have the opportunity to stay at some of the lodges on the national park property. These can be very difficult to book on your own. So with our tour operator Orbridge, you'll have those reservations and you'll be able to stay right in the parks, which is really cool. With Orbridge, they also have their trips led by expedition leaders who are oftentimes U.S. park rangers or just have a lot of knowledge about the national parks and the wildlife you'll see there. Okay, moving into summer, I wanted to highlight this one, which is a river cruise through Europe's historic rivers. This itinerary is new for us, but river cruises are not. They tend to be some of our more popular trips, and we do offer quite a few in 2026, so feel free to check those out on the website. But this one in particular will be aboard the Amadeus Amara, which is a beautiful river cruise limited to about 120 travelers. And then kind of the highlight of river cruising is that you only have to unpack once and you end up going to a lot of unique places on your ship. There's great scenery along the way. And then in this one, this itinerary in particular, there's a lot of historic, cultural, and culinary excursions that you'll have available to you throughout Germany. Next up is our classic safari. This is Kenya and Tanzania. It's a Purdue exclusive small group departure. And this one is very focused on the wildlife aspect. And the game drives, you'll go to several national parks, you'll go on some reserves, and then you'll stay right within the lodges as well. You'll have the chance to see the big 5, which is common in safari. That is the lion, leopard, elephant, buffalo, and rhino. And you'll go to the Serengeti and the Masai Mara. This is an exciting one to highlight, Icelandic Revelation. This is the Big Ten cruise of the year. So each school in the Big Ten will have special programming and a special VIP host for their group. We'll be sending Drew and Indira Foistel. Drew is an astronaut who has gone to space several times, and he's a great ambassador for Purdue. He'll be able to share some of his experience with our group, as well as all of the Big Ten travelers. Some kind of specifics about the trip itself: you will circumnavigate Iceland aboard the Oceania Insignia, and there will be a focus on scenery and nature with a lot of opportunities to spot wildlife as well. And then the last one for summer is Vancouver to Toronto by rail, aboard Via Rail's The Canadian Train. We find that trains are very popular with our Boilermakers, and this is a new itinerary that we'll be offering, which spans over 5 provinces in Canada, and you'll see incredible scenery every day. You'll stay on the train, have beautiful views, and they do all of the gourmet cooking on board as well. So it's really just a nice relaxing trip, an opportunity to see a lot of great scenery over the span of the itinerary. Next up is the fall trips. So we will start off with Machu Picchu to the Galapagos. This is a Purdue exclusive trip, and it's a small group departure. It was very popular with us in 2025, so we're really excited to offer it again in 2026. You'll find that a lot of trips you can either do Machu Picchu or the Galapagos, but I really like this itinerary because it combines both of them. So you'll actually spend the first half of the trip in Peru. You'll tour Cuzco, the Sacred Valley, and you'll have 2 guided visits to Machu Picchu. And then the second part of the trip, you'll go to the Galapagos and you'll have daily excursions to see the wildlife and really the unique landscape there. It's also great because when you're in the Galapagos, you'll have a naturalist guiding your group to share a lot of really great information and knowledge on the ground. And then next is the New Zealand trip, Land of the Long White Cloud. This is a new trip that we're offering in 2026, and it's a small group, again, limited to 28. And it is unique because it's just New Zealand. You'll see a lot of trips combine Australia and New Zealand. This is a way to do a deep dive just into New Zealand. There's a few highlights I wanted to share, which would be a cruise to the Doubtful Sound. You'll take a ferry between the North and South Islands, and then you'll do a lot of cultural excursions as well. So it's a really nice mix of nature, history, and culture within this itinerary. Next up is Ottawa and French Canada. So another small group tour. You're probably sensing a trend. We like to keep the group sizes small as they're easier to move throughout the cities and really get to know your travel group as well. For this one, you'll spend a mix of time in Ottawa, Montreal, and Quebec City. And some of the highlights include deep dives into the nation's history, a light show at the Basilica Notre Dame, and a musical performance. Then we have the Rivieras of France and Italy. This is a cruise on the Windstar Wind Spirit, which is a small sailing ship. So that's a unique opportunity to be on a different type of ship than a lot of our other trips. You'll visit Barcelona, Nice, Monaco, Portofino, and Corsica. And then the excursions that are available will highlight history, culture, and culinary aspects of this region with a lot of incredible views, as you can see on the screen, just a wonderful area to travel and a nice time of year as well in October. And then the last trip that I wanted to highlight was the Legends of the Nile trip. This is, again, limited to 28 people. And there are a lot of opportunities to see some kind of bucket list destinations on this one, including the Pyramids of Giza, the newly opened Grand Egyptian Museum. You'll take a cruise along the Nile, and you'll also spend some time in the Valley of Kings and Queens and go to Luxor. For this one, a key highlight is also that your trip will be guided by a licensed Egyptologist. So you'll learn a lot about the history of the area, the artifacts, and really kind of be able to dive deeper into what you're seeing while you're there. Okay, so those are the trips I wanted to share with you. If you have any questions about those trips or any of our other trips, my contact information is here with my email and phone number. I'm always happy to talk with prospective travelers and share more about the program. So I would always welcome you to reach out. You could start on the website and then contact me. I'd like to thank Leslie for having me today to talk about the travel program. I think lifelong learning and travel fit really well together. It's a great way to keep learning while you're on the ground in amazing places. So thanks, Leslie.
Thank you, Sarah, and very well said. Thanks so much for sharing this. And like Sarah said earlier in the presentation, this is just a sampling of the many trips that are available in 2026. So these were wonderful. I don't know how anybody chooses. Like she said, I think there are 46, if I heard you correctly, in 2026. So that's incredible. We're so thankful. I've had an opportunity to go on some of these trips and travel, and they're all so very well done. So like Sarah said, reach out. Feel free to reach out to Sarah. Or as always, you can reach out to me, and we look forward to seeing you again soon. So thanks everyone for joining us.